Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066. And by the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Visit gov.ky/steps to learn more. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees. So fair. Today is Monday, the 21st day of August 2022, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend, although it may have been a wet weekend at times for some as well, but we certainly need the rain. Don't need the mosquitoes that are likely to come with it, but we certainly need the rain as well. So we hope everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please, please, please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. If you do so, the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday and to remind you that this segment of the For the Record birthday shoutouts are proudly brought to you by Pizza Boat. Pizza Boat now open in Queens Court and West Bay Road. So folks, hop on to the Pizza Boat Express. Pizza Boat, they make pizza even more fun. You can pick up or you can have your pizza delivered as well. Just call 949-0000 or email www.pizzaboat.ky. Order online via www.pizzaboat.ky. For those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing to you. We're hearing of the passing of several persons, but I won't acknowledge or announce them until it is until they have been officially announced. So I will refrain from mentioning any names until they're official. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we wish you a speedy recovery. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. Again this morning, that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note. You can also call us on that number. We can only entertain one caller at a time. Of course, you can follow us on YouTube. You do that by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. Don't forget, we are on Facebook as well. So we again have some birthday greetings, and to remind you that the birthday shout out on For the Record proudly brought to you by Pizza Boat. Pizza Boat, they're now open in Queens Court and West Bay Road, so you can hop on to the Pizza Boat Express. Pizza Boat, those people there, they make pizza even more fun. You can pick up or you can have delivered. Dial 949-0000, or you can order online via www.pizzaboat.ky. So let's see celebrating birthdays. First of all, we're going back to Friday, and actually on Saturday, Miss Dorothy Bush celebrated her birthday on Saturday, and Member of Parliament Mr. Joey Hugh wanted to wish her a happy birthday in advance on Friday, but time didn't allow for that. So and I'm sure that he's been in contact with her on her birthday as well. But we want to wish a belated happy birthday to Miss Dorothy Bush, who celebrated her birthday on Saturday. Then we see yesterday, I want to make sure I get this right. Yeah. So Miss Jeannie Ebanks Lewis celebrated her birthday yesterday as well. So I want to say belated happy birthday to Miss Jeannie Ebanks Lewis. Many of you know her, as well. Over in Jamaica, a good friend, cycling friend of ours, he used to reside here in the Cayman Islands as well, Mr. Kirkland Howell. He celebrated his birthday on Saturday as well, the 19th. He celebrated. So belated happy birthday to him. And we have several birthdays coming up as well. Morgan DaCosta will be celebrating his birthday on the 29th of August. Peter Goff will celebrate his on the 27th of August. Miss Katrina Moore, Mr. Alan Moore's daughter, she will be celebrating hers on the 29th of August as well. And down in September, Lord Graham, it's 10th of September, he will be celebrating his birthday as well. So just giving you some of those in advance. Also, let's look at today's birthday. We have Shilpa, who is Gampawar. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but I'm going to try it anyway. Shilpa Gampamar celebrating her birthday today. Colin Collybuds Harper also celebrating his birthday today. Mr. Gary Smith also celebrating a birthday today. We want to wish all of them happy birthday as well. If you know someone else who's celebrating a birthday, please let us know. Tomorrow, Miss Seneca Ebanks celebrating a birthday. That's on August the 22nd. KJ Marva celebrating a birthday on the 22nd. Marva Scott celebrating a birthday also tomorrow. And Sydney Jackie Ebanks also celebrating a birthday tomorrow. So we want to wish you in advance a happy birthday as well. And again, to remind you that For the Record birthday shoutouts brought to you by Pizza Boat. They're now open in Queens Court on West Bay Road. So folks, hop on board the Pizza Boat Express. Pizza Boat. They make pizza even more fun. You can pick up your pizza or you can have it delivered. Just call 949-0000, or you can order online via www.pizzaboat.ky. No guests in the studio yet, but after the 8 o'clock news, we will have guests in the studio, and we will be we will continue to celebrate our older persons here in the Cayman Islands, and we will be talking to and about our seafarers here in the Cayman Islands. And to give you a preview of what will take place, we will have Miss Lucille Seymour, who is the chairperson of the Older Persons Commission, in the studio with us. We will also have Mr. Andrew Eden in the studio with us, and on the phone we will have Mr. Denniston Tibbetts. And just to give you, again, those of you who may not be familiar with it, hopefully you're following these series, because we do a show at once a month, usually the third Monday of the month. And that is something that has been featured by the Ministry of Investment, Innovation and Social Development, as well as the Department of Children and Family Services, who are working with other stakeholders to develop programs to sensitize the public to the importance of older persons, to the family unit and society. The overall aim of their initiative is to enhance multi-generational interaction and collaboration as well. So the Older Persons Council, they provide a voice for the elderly on issues that are relevant to older persons as well. And you heard on Friday one of the queries that we received here on For the Record, speaking about the building that had been secured, not only earmarked, but actually was being used for older persons to spend portions of their day socializing with each other, located, I think there was a wine store or something like that in the back of Foster's Food Fair, Airport Road. That facility during COVID was closed and utilized for dispensation of the COVID vaccine, and of course its proximity to the airport proved to be, an advantage as well. But now persons have been questioning what is happening with that facility. If that one will not be reutilized, then will something else be established for them? And it certainly would be useful if we could obtain an answer on that. So I want to remind you that our phone lines will be open from after this commercial break until our 8 o'clock news. Then at 8:15, we will start our discussions on seafaring in the Cayman Islands. So folks, don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
John James Bodden, 1884 to 1959.
Despite a limited education, John James Bodden was a hard-working man who contributed much to his family and friends. He served his country as a vestryman. His greatest interest was education and the building of a community of fairness and equality to all. At a very young age, he traveled to Nicaragua, where he worked in the gold mines to help support his parents and siblings. In the early 1920s, he returned home and married Carmen Ethel Watler, with whom he had 6 children. He sailed as a steward with the Webster Steamship Company, and he also sailed out of the United States on foreign flag ships. After many years, he retired from sea and came home to work for H.O. Marine Company as estate manager, which enabled him to provide jobs for the men of Bordentown. He raised cattle and acted as a veterinarian in his neighborhood. He grew crops and gave generously to anyone who needed food.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
You're curious. You want to know what Rotary means, what Rotary is, what Rotary does. Mark this date. Set this time, Wednesday, August 23rd, 5:30 to 7:30. The place is Taco Cantina, Buckingham Square. Come along and bring a friend. Meet and greet and mingle. Rotary Club of the Cayman Islands Sunset, a new Rotary Club, invites you to fellowship. Spark your curiosity. Consider membership. Wednesday, August 23rd, 5:30 to 7:30. A free Rotary Fellowship event after work. Refreshments, mingle, learning, opportunity to meet and greet. Supported by Rotary Clubs of the Cayman Islands. Rotary, create hope in the world.
I love Pizza Boat. It's yummy.
It has my two favorite things combined, cheese and boats.
Pizza Boat makes pizza way more fun.
Hop on board the Pizza Boat Express. Kids, now Pizza Boat makes pizza even more fun. Summer is here. Lunch or dinner, let Pizza Boat bring the fun. Pizza Boat, a Cayman twist to pizza, bringing fusion ingredients from all over the globe to give you locally inspired fresh pizzas all day, every day. Pizza Boat, now open in Queens Court on West Bay Road. Pick up or delivery 949-0000 or order online www.pizzaboat.ky.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
West Bay Pharmacy, personalized medicine, customized care to meet your specific needs. Your body is unique to you. Your medicine should be too. Whether you're seeking individual specific medication, correct size dosages, or simply better tasting medicine, ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about how compounding at West Bay Pharmacy can increase your treatment options, not only for your family, but for your pets too. West Bay Pharmacy, open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Sundays and most holidays from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Stop kicking that old washer or dryer and stressing out. Brand Source Home Gallery is having an August laundry sale. Save up to 15% on all brands. That's right, save up to 15% on GE, Samsung, LG, Beko, Frigidaire, Electrolux, and even heavy-duty commercial washers and dryers, both gas and electric. Shop Brand Source Home Gallery in August and find the island's largest selection of washers and dryers and save during the August laundry sale. Visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive in Industrial Park or call 623-5000.
RC Fusion, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Monday to Saturday. Brought to you by Puritan Cleaners. Puritan Cleaners, now using the most popular eco-friendly cleaning solvent. Call 949-7104. Puritan Cleaners. You feel good when you look good.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. Phone lines are open. And a special happy birthday greetings going out to Miss Vashiana Franklin, my stepdaughter. She's celebrating her birthday today as well. So she gets a special birthday shout out all by herself, in this segment as well. So Vashiana, happy birthday to you. Don't want to get her in trouble with her employer, but I thought at one time that government, or I guess it's a department that by department, some of them will give you your birthday as a day off or a half day off as well. So we hope that where she works, that courtesy is extended as well. But we want to say to her, have a very, very happy birthday today. So if we have no callers on the line, I'm going to share this article with you, because what we're getting here in the Cayman Islands these days, as far as information is concerned, it's if we do get anything, it's usually pretty scanty, what we get. For instance, we saw that the overseas territories, the Caribbean overseas territories, had a meeting in Florida, and there were indications that it was a very successful meeting, but we didn't hear a whole lot about what was discussed. I see some snippets of it in the British Virgin Islands newspapers talking about some of the things that had been discussed, and they, of course, mentioned the issue of the register of beneficial ownerships. Don't forget now, that is still on the table. That draft order in council is still waiting in the UK. If we fail to implement at some point in time, but this one was certainly quite interested, and this doesn't really have anything to do whatsoever with the overseas territories meeting in Miami, but this one has to do with the United Nations squaring off against the OECD over this whole issue of a global tax. And so this article speaks about the fact that the United Nations wants more power to shape the global tax rules, and the UN has also been highly critical of the work done by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, which now has Bermuda consulting over establishing a new corporate tax regime. So Bermuda is exploring the whole idea of a new corporate tax regime. Of course, here in the Cayman Islands, we do not have a corporate tax regime. So the article goes on to say that outside influence of wealthy countries on the OECD's policy agenda has led many developing countries, including some OECD members, to question its efficacy in setting equitable global tax standards. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres is pushing for a larger UN role in establishing new guidelines for global tax changes amid concerns the OECD's group of wealthy countries have ignored the needs of developing nations. So my question to that, what else is new? Goes on to say that the OECD was quick to defend its position as a global tax policy leader, and saying that the United Nations report was disappointing and surprising, and that it ignored achievements that would benefit developed and developing countries. But next month, the United Nations General Assembly will debate Mr. Guterres' proposals for full, inclusive, and more effective international tax cooperation, including legally binding frameworks to establish an overall system of international tax governance. It could mean a showdown between the two bodies for the reins of authority in international tax leadership. Of course, we know when there's a showdown between organizations like the OECD and the United Nations, the OECD probably has more clout politically and economically than does the United Nations, who can pass resolutions, but enforcement has always been an issue with them. And that is simply because the United Nations has never, even with its inception and what it was intended to achieve, has never been given the full political power that it should have. Those are my words. So the article goes on to say that the OECD's plan seeks significant changes to international tax rules affecting multinational companies after winning preliminary agreement from more than 130 countries. Large companies would pay more taxes in countries where they have customers and less in countries where they have headquarters, employees, and operations. Additionally, the agreement sets out a global minimum tax of 15%, which would, the proponents believe, increase taxes on the largest multinational companies with earnings in low tax jurisdictions, or some with no tax whatsoever. Governments have been sent away to develop implementation plans to turn the agreement into law. Bermuda has begun an initial consultation period to September 8th with an outline of ideas up for discussions that could propose a new corporate income tax rate of between 9% and 15% for the affected companies. But critics of the global way forward say the world's wealthiest countries are also the biggest enablers of tax abuse and should not be setting the rules for everyone else. Well, you know about that. To the victor goes the spoils, and they have always been the victor as well. And they say, it is the victor who gets to write the history, as well. So OECD always in control. The big countries, they colonized us, developed their countries, their economies as a result of the slave trade, and now they want to continue to keep us in that posture of slavery as well. So the article, do I have enough time? No, I don't have enough time. It says, as a result, the substantive rules developed through these OECD initiatives often do not adequately address the needs and priorities of the developing countries and are beyond their capacities to implement. The report concludes that, quote, enhancing the UN's role in tax, norm shaping, and rule setting, fully taking into account existing multilateral and international arrangements, appears the most viable path for making international tax cooperation fully inclusive and more effective. This UN intergovernmental process would accept all the work previously done and address gaps and weaknesses in current international tax cooperation efforts as well. So, but folks, unfortunately here in the Cayman Islands, we don't hear a whole lot about this. What are the challenges for the Cayman Islands? What is being done about it? We will probably hear about it when our parliamentarians have to rush off to our parliament to enact legislation to cover something. We need to hear more from our elected officials. Folks, I want to remind you that in our continuing discussion on older persons and keeping them informed and try to ensure that we bridge multi-generational gap that exists, we will have in the studio this morning the chairperson of the Older Persons Council, Ms. Lucille Seymour. We will also have in the studio with us Mr. Andrew Eden, and on the phone line we will have the president of the Seafarers Association, Mr. Denniston Tibbetts. So don't change that dial. Listen to the news. Rejoin us at 8:15 when that discussion commences.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 8 o'clock.
All right, class.
Pay attention. School is back in session, and it's time to get back to school ready with Foster's.
Foster's is embracing school spirit with all the essentials like backpacks, stationery, lunch kits, and more.
And online, treat yourself to our useful back-to-school lunch ideas at livewell.fosters.ky to turn fresh and healthy into full and focused.
And any parents hoping to spend more time at home, there's always fresh delivery from Foster's Go.
Think you got all of that? We'll test you on it later.
Get ready for a great fresh start with Foster's.
Follow Radio K-Man on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio K-Man.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Island.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. There are 3 storms brewing in the Caribbean Sea, Atlantic, Gulf of Mexico region. And the Cayman Islands National Weather Service is monitoring, in particular, Tropical Storm Franklin, which at the last check was located 245 miles southeast of the Dominican Republic with wind speeds of 50 miles per hour. It's moving at 12 miles per hour. At the same time, short-lived Tropical Storm Gert, which is east-southeast of the northern Leeward Islands, is quickly unraveling, while Tropical Storm Emily is expected to become a post-tropical cyclone soon. All of this activity has prompted Hazard Management Cayman Islands to remind residents that this year's hurricane season is showing signs of an increase in activity. Director Danny Coleman.
An important preparedness consideration for residents includes a plan for where to shelter in a hurricane if you're not certain that your house is safe. Going to a strong multi-purpose office building or a well-elevated home with a family, perhaps with a friend, is a really good option for some.
Also, depending on the strength and direction of a cyclone, emergency shelters will be opened when it's threatening the Cayman Islands. The full list of shelters can be found on the Cayman Prepared website, and there is additional information about what to bring and where the designated emergency medical centers are located in each district on each island. Local gas prices spike. According to the Overall Retail Network weekly analysis of the Cayman Islands done by the Utility and Competition Regulation Office, the average price of self-service regular gasoline is now $5.88 a gallon, which is up 4 cents since the last check on August 14th. Premium self-service gasoline spiked 8 cents to $6.08, and diesel is now $5.43 a gallon. For a quick comparison, 3 months ago, prices were $5.83 for regular, $5.98 for premium, and $5.65 for diesel. For Grand Cayman, the cheapest self-service regular is reportedly being sold at Mostyn's, where Allfrag says it's $5.12 a self-service gallon. The regulator says the average price for regular gas in Cayman Brac is $5.99. Folks on Little Cayman are still paying $7.29. On the diesel side of things, Allfrag says the cheapest self-service option is refuel, where it's selling for $4.85 a gallon. According to AAA, the average price of gasoline in Florida rose to $3.81 USD for regular and $4.42 for premium over the past week. Log on to allfrag.ky for a full breakdown. And it's time once again for the Stingray Tourism Awards. Radio Cayman's Felicia Rankin-Salins brings us this report.
On Tuesday, October 10th, 2023, the Cayman Islands Tourism Association will host its 17th annual Cayman Stingray Tourism Awards event. And the main purpose of this initiative is to highlight and appreciate those individuals that have set themselves apart from the rest through their outstanding achievements and stellar service. The Stingray Tourism Awards allow CETA member businesses to nominate their top performers for the Esteemed Employee of the Year awards in accommodations, water sports, restaurants, allied attractions, and transportation. In addition, member businesses will be able to nominate an Overall Manager of the Year who has gone above and beyond to provide outstanding service to guests and lead their team. Another accolade is the Rising Star Award, which is bestowed on someone who shows promise in the field of tourism. Nominations are open and will be accepted through Friday, September 15th, 2023. For information on the rules and regulations and how to nominate an outstanding employee or manager, contact info@ceta.ky. I'm Felicia Rankin-Salins.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with Moira Alderson. A judge in Britain has sentenced a nurse to whole life orders for killing 7 babies and attempting to murder 6 more at the hospital where she worked. The judge at Manchester Crown Court, Mr Justice Goss, told Lucy Letby she'll spend the rest of her life in jail. He said her cruelty and calculating actions were truly horrific. In Israel, military officials say that an Israeli woman has been killed and an Israeli man has been seriously wounded in a suspected Palestinian shooting attack on a highway in the occupied West Bank near the city of Hebron. Israeli ambulance services say that a 6-year-old who was in the car was miraculously unharmed. Saudi Arabia has dismissed a Human Rights Watch report which details the systematic killing by border guards of hundreds of Ethiopian migrants on the kingdom's border with Yemen. An unnamed government official said the report, based on interviews with survivors, was not reliable. That's the latest world news from the BBC.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
As a general rule, your septic tank should be pumped out by a professional every 3 years. During hurricane season, however, it is important to keep your septic tank at least partially full to keep it from floating or collapsing during a storm. For more useful hurricane preparedness tips, visit the Water Authority's website at www.waterauthority.ky or follow us on social media.
Healthcare Pharmacy, caring about your health for the past 25 years. Radio Cayman's premier health show.
Alzheimer's and dementia, are they the same disorder?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Is heard on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy in Grand Harbor, where they care about your health. Transfer and refill your prescription online. Visit healthcarepharmacy.ky or call 947-8900. Healthcare Pharmacy, now with a second location in Governor's Square. Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Hey, Bill, glad to see you back in the office.
Who?
Bill.
Oh, sorry, I think you're mistaking me for someone else.
Tom.
Nope.
Jack.
No.
Alex.
No. Want me to just tell you?
Nope, I got this, George.
No, you don't. Still not me.
Adam.
Not even close, man.
We're like a coworker that didn't forget your name. CG Britcay. Good like that.
Okay, good to see you, Mark Mike John Sean.
It's Mordecai.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 84 degrees. Relative humidity is 90%. The barometric pressure is 10.7 millibars. The wind is out of the east at 4 knots. Overnight low temperature was 80 degrees. Synopsis indicate isolated showers with moderate winds and seas are expected for the next 24 hours over the Cayman Islands in association with a lingering moisture over the northwest Caribbean from a tropical wave currently moving west over the Yucatan Peninsula. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area moving towards the west. The Cayman Islands National Weather Service is monitoring Tropical Storm Franklin, which at 8 this morning was located at 15.1 north, 69.6 west. Maximum sustained winds are 50 miles per hour. and is moving west at 10 knots at 12 miles per hour. The National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida is issuing advisories for tropical storms Emily and Gert. These storms pose no immediate threat to the Cayman Islands. If you need further details, you can visit www.nhc.noaa.gov. Forecast for today calling for partly cloudy to cloudy skies with a 40% chance of showers and possible thunder, and temperatures will be in the low 90s with a heat index of 107 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots with higher gust, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Tonight we can expect partly cloudy to cloudy skies with a 40% chance of showers and possible thunder, and temperatures falling to the upper 70s tonight. Winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Today's high tide will occur this afternoon at 12:38, low tide this evening at 6:16, and a high tide again tonight at 11:51. The sun will set this evening at 6:47 and will rise tomorrow morning at 9 minutes past 6. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Wednesday morning.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking, change your life. There's no great success without commitment.
As motivational speaker Tony Robbins said, individuals who succeed have a belief in the power of commitment. If there's a single belief that seems almost inseparable from success, it's that there's no great success without commitment. If you look at successful people in any field, you'll find they're not necessarily the best and the brightest, the fastest and the strongest. You'll find they're the ones with the most commitment.
Change your thinking. Change your life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at traffic. Downtown Georgetown on Edward Street looking pretty good. Out of Georgetown on Shedden Road, things are flowing nicely. Into Georgetown on Shedden Road, moderate flow of traffic. To the east on Shamrock Road and Rex Crichton Boulevard, traffic is flowing moderately. On the Linford Pearson Highway, steady bit flow in traffic. And steady traffic coming off of Bobby Thompson Way as well as off of Agnes Way. Steady traffic heading to Georgetown on Cool Road. Eastbound traffic on Cool Road is moving on pretty good. As we look to Godfrey Nixon Way and Easton Avenue, flowing at a good pace. Also coming from the West Bay 4-way stop. And moderate flow of traffic in both directions on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz. Owen Roberts Drive flowing nicely. And steady traffic on Huldah Avenue. And that's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report. Remember, click it or ticket.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. Don't lie on your resume. Because if you say you've got trapeze experience, someone might shoot you out of a cannon and expect you to do a gymnast routine while flying through the air at 82 miles an hour. And just because you want to land on your feet doesn't mean you will. But if you're smart, you'll have CG medical insurance, so you get the best coverage for the price.
Get the best coverage for the price. CG Brit-K. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
The Department of Lands and Survey is pleased to invite the community to their Customer Appreciation Day on Thursday, the 31st of August from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Government Administration Building on Elgin Avenue. There will be refreshments, prize giveaways, and demonstrations. The Lands and Survey Customer Appreciation Day, Thursday, the 31st of August from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Government Administration Building.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're going to continue our monthly discussion about older persons in the Cayman Islands. But before I do that, we want to give a big birthday shout out to Ms. Del Dixon, who is 91 years young today. Birthday greetings are coming from children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, and the remainder of the family as well. So, Miss Del Dixon, happy 91st to you as well. So, folks, again, I want to remind you that the Ministry of Investment, Innovation, and Social Development, as well as the Department of Children and Family Services, have been working with other stakeholders to develop programs to sensitize the public to the importance of older persons to family, unit, and society. The overall aim of the program is to, or the initiative is to enhance multi-generational interaction and collaboration. The Older Persons Council is there, and they provide a voice for the elderly on issues that are relevant to older persons. We know, of course, that traditions are an important part of life. They help to keep us connected to others, and traditions are also a source of grounding and comfort. Traditions also give us a sense of belonging to family and community, which is, of course, essential to social and emotional well-being. So we want to continue the tradition here in the Cayman Islands. If we don't, then we run the risk of losing that, and we lose the whole concept of existence, of our existence. So this morning, we're going to be focusing on Around the World Maritime Adventures in the Cayman Islands. So it is my pleasure to have in the studio Miss Lucille Seymour, who is the chairperson of the Older Persons Council. No stranger to Radio Cayman, no stranger to For the Record. Miss Lucille, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Good morning.
And also in the studio with us, Mr. Andrew Eden, who has many firsts in front of his name as well, you know, being one of the youngest chief engineers in the Cayman Islands. He's also, what should I use? An avid ham radio operator as well, and I can say that because he has assisted Earth Scouts when we have Jamboree on air. He has assisted the Scouts of the Cayman Islands with the ham radio and communicating with others throughout the world as well. Mr. Eden, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Glad to be here with you.
And on the phone line with us, none other than Mr. Denniston Tibbetts, the president of the Cayman Islands Seafarers Association. Mr. Tibbetts, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C. And good morning, Ms. Lucille. Good morning,
Good morning, Mr. Denniston.
Good morning.
Okay, Ms. Lucille, but before we start to talk about the geographics, you know, of the geographical locations and significance, you know, of the Cayman Islands when it comes to seafaring, I want you to give you an opportunity to talk some about the work of the Older Persons Council as well.
Well, thank you very much. And the Older Persons Council is an advocacy group for older persons. It came about in 2016 under the auspices of Mr. Osborne Borden, who was minister then, ably helped by Mrs. Debbie Sibley's, who has a passion for this. But before that, the Children and Family Services, under the auspices of Mrs. Deanna Luke-Lloyd, really pushed for older persons. I'm glad that they have formulated a council. It's not perfect. There are some things that we need to do in order to be a little more proactive. But I'm glad that they have worked with us, because this was a discussion under the Older Persons Council of how we get the message out to people about older persons, and try to bring the intergenerational together. But at the end of the day, what is significant, that Children and Family Services is also a member of the council, so we don't have a functioning administrative management group that will do our work. So it's good that Children and Family Services have taken up this. And this has been a big concern, in particular of our late Mr. McFarlane, who we shall remember today, who was a member of the council, who always tried to bring what we can do for the older persons in terms of not just giving them attending to their immediate needs like wealth and so, but their well-being. And this is a good thing. But why this is good is that we need to connect with our young people. And what other way? Because a lot of our history is being either taken away or is dying. We are bringing in people so fast in our country that things are moving very, very fast. And then we are encouraging more of the computer lifestyle. Things are dying faster for older persons because they cannot connect with it. But coming back to the seamen, this is where we must start, because it is the seafarers who really made Cayman. I mean, I am the age I am. I can remember the stories my brother told me, and I can see the effects of what they saw in Cayman, helping Cayman. And that is why we are a knowledgeable country. We know a lot. We're a seafaring country. Women and men know a lot about our country. And so this is good, and I'm glad that I also thought he was a captain, but he's a chief engineer. But that's good. Not that I always thought, but somehow.
I'm sure if he had embarked on that, he would have done as well.
He's so bright. Yes. That's right. But it's good that the Children and Family Services is bringing this to fore, and people don't see Children and Family Services as just a means giver outer to people, but helping them with the history of our country.
Yeah. So we have Mr. Denniston on the line and Mr. Andrew in the studio. We will talk about a little bit about the geographic location and significance of the Cayman Islands. When I was in school and in primary, and the definition of an island was a piece of land surrounded by water. Now we know that there are other nationalities as well that are certainly famous for their seafaring. We always would hear the Caymanian seamen talk about the Norwegians and their seafaring prowess and everything. And then of course the Greeks. And of course, Greece is comprised of, series of islands as well as, having a mainland as well. So between Mr. Tibbetts and Mr. Eden here in the studio, let's talk a little bit about location. We don't want you to feel too lonely in there, so we're going to give you the mic for now until for about 3 minutes until we go to our commercial break to talk a little bit about location, and then we'll hear more from Mr. Andrew about it when we return. Mr. Tibbetts, over to you.
Thank you, O.C. Thank you, Ms. Lucille. It's really a privilege to be on here. The Department of Children's Services, they're doing a good job. As a matter of fact, we had them at the Seafarers Hall some months ago. But as far as the location of the Cayman Islands, it so happened that when National Bulk Carriers was established, Captain Del Borden from the BRAC volunteered to Mr. Ludwig, who owned National Bulk, for him to send Captain Merrill Southwell down to the islands to recruit seamen. And this was the start of the whole modus operandi. But Roy Borden, who used to be on Radio Cayman, is the son of Captain Dell, but he never went to sea. Although he's a member of the Seafarers, because we some years ago we changed the Articles of Association for members, adult children members of to become members of Seafarers. And the men who were recruited during that time, I think it was 1954 or 55, they excelled so much that eventually they became known as iron men from wooden ships. And we have proven over the years to be the world's best seamen. But in 1994, I think, a group of seamen got together and they formed the Cayman Islands Seafarers Association. At the time, it was headed by Mr. Walsham Connolly.
Mm-hmm.
And we've grown from there to own our own building, and we have I think it's like 1,200 members, including wives and widows of seafarers. So we've come a long way, and we're still known as the best seamen in the world. And I noticed Miss Lucille thought that Andrew was a captain, but I had experience of captain with my father. My father was a captain from Cayman Brac, and I used to sail with him. So that was my introduction to the world of seafaring. But it's a fantastic thing, and it's very, very, very something that everybody should know about, because we have so many nationalities coming in here now, and they just think that what they find here was what was here all along, and that is not so. In 2021, we were recognized by the government as the year of the seafarer. So, and it goes without saying that seafaring has formed a tremendous part of the history of these islands, and we're proud to have been part of it.
Certainly. Okay, Mr. Tibbetts, we're going to take that commercial break. Please stay on the line. When we return, we're going to hear from Mr. Andrew Eden, who was one of the, if not the youngest person to be licensed as a chief engineer. We want to hear from him, hear about his exploits as well, what motivated him to embark on a seafaring career as well. So, folks, don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
A few drops of blood. That's all we're asking for Step 3 of the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. These will help to measure the national prevalence of raised blood sugar and cholesterol, which will shape our healthcare services, our interventions, our prevention and education programming. Help us shape Cayman's healthcare services. Say yes to Step 3. For more information, contact the STEPS team on 936-4969.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
I am Teresa Pitcairn, the chairperson of the Cayman Islands Beautification Task Force. Derelict vehicles are not only unsightly, they also lower the quality of life in our neighborhoods and pose serious public health and safety risk. To report a derelict vehicle, please call the Department of Environmental Health on 949-6696.
Be a part of the solution, not the pollution. Littering is a crime punishable by a $500 fine or 6 months in prison. Brought to you by the Beautification Task Force and Ministry of Tourism and Ports.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the effort of the Ministry of Investment, Innovation, and Social Development, as well as the Department of Children and Family Services, along with the Older Persons Council, we continue our series on our older persons in our effort to enhance the multi-generational interaction and collaboration here in the Cayman Islands. So we're talking about our seafarers. In the studio with us, we have Miss Lucille Seymour, who is the chairperson of the Older Persons Council. On the phone line, we have Mr. Denniston Tibbetts, the president of the Cayman Islands Seafarers Association. And we have a member of the Seafarers Association here in the studio with us, Mr. Andrew Eden, who has many asterisks alongside his name as well. You know, we hear about other chief engineers like the late Leroy Frederick. I think Mr. Bill Jackson.
He was a captain.
He was a captain, as well. And I wouldn't even call any names. I'll leave that for you to. You would be familiar with, most of the Caymanian chief engineers as well. But Mr. Eden, I want to talk about your exploit, and if you can mention something about the location, what gave us that advantage, as well. I know at some point in time, Miss Lucille will probably mention the fact that the mere fact that we had Sea Scouts here in the Cayman Islands, and also that men went off to the Mosquito Keys to fish and everything else. Those exploits in themselves prepared them for a life on sea as well. Over to you, Mr. Eden.
Yes, well, as you know, the Caymanians were well known for seafaring from back in the 1800s, and with the turtling and also building sailing vessels here and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been very central in the Northwest Caribbean near the United States. A lot of companies over there that had ships sailing the Caribbean all around the U.S. and into Europe. So a lot of Caymanians, they got, most of them early on went over to Jamaica and shipped out from there from a number of companies and branched out, a lot of other companies all over the U.S. And I personally, I had uncles and my father and many family members who were seafarers. I had a number of uncles who were chief engineers, Crosby Eden, Lee Jackson, my father Woodrow Eden, and a host of others who excelled at sea. And it was always my desire to go to sea. And I got that opportunity in 1966. And like most other Caymanians, we sailed out of here. First, we started out as a messman board ship. Mm-hmm. And it was one of the things that we learned right as we got on board, the discipline, the work ethics. It's just unbelievable. And it really groomed you for the life ahead. That's why I always say these days, a lot of the young people, they get out of school, they should have to go to sea for a few years before they get a job on shore. Then they would really appreciate the discipline of how we worked out there and bring that back home, which is what I did also when I came back home here to work and employed people. I went by the same standards. Hey, this is how we do it. This is what we're going to do. If you don't, well, you fire yourself. I'm not going to fire you, but this is the way it's going to be. And that's the way we worked on board ship.
Now, let's talk about your progression throughout. You said, correctly say that many people started as messmen, started in the galley. Some were fortunate to start on deck as an ordinary seaman. Talk a little bit about your progression, sir.
Yeah, that's great. I started out as a messman, and I worked in that position for 6 months. Then I got a promotion. I always wanted to work in the engine room. I always wanted to become an engineer. And as soon as I went to sea, I bought some engineering books and started studying right away. And after 6 months as a messman, then I got a wiper's job in the engine room. That's the one who clean and paint and scrape and whatever in the engine room. I was only 6 weeks as a wiper, and then I got a promotion to second pump on engine maintenance, which was quite a step up there, and the wages was a lot better than it was $132 a month as a messman.
If I could interrupt you a second, can you talk about the responsibilities of a pumpman, because many people would consider that position to be one of the key positions on board a vessel because it has a lot to do with stability.
It is, certainly. And, we're the one that takes care of all of the intake of the cargo, the intake of the ballast, the pumping out of the cargo, the pumping out of the ballast. We're guided by the chief mate. They're the one that, determine the stability of the ship, where we put what. And, we're there from start to finish, from loading, and from start to finish when we're discharging. We run all the cargo pumps and maintain them. And, the pumps are set up, so the pump is in the pump room, and the driving part, which is the steam turbine, and reduction gear is in the engine room, so we had to be, back and forth between plus on deck, checking how the tanks are filling up and all of that. And initially, it was all manually done. And more modern ships, we had a control room where you could watch everything happening by meters. But in the early days, it was all manually and a lot of footwork.
Okay. So from pumpman now, sorry I interrupted you there, but...
Yeah, when we were next ship, then I went out as chief pumpman. And fortunately, we had a Caymanian chief engineer, Mr. Leroy Friedrich, who really pushed me to, hey, you got what it takes. Although I didn't even have the required sea time at the time, hey, go ahead and study hard and, go sit the exam with your third engineer license. So we were in Newport News, Virginia, on dry dock for a few days. So I went up there and sat the third engineer license. And within a very short time, I got a promotion as third engineer. And 1 year later, I got off the ship for a few days in Puerto Rico and sat my second engineer's exam. And very shortly after that, I got promotion to second engineer. So my first two ships, I went from messman up to second engineer.
Wow.
And my next ship was one of the largest super tankers in the war, the University Iran. I sailed there for 9 months, and after that, then I sat my first engineer's license. And I was home for a couple of weeks, and then I went back out as second engineer, and then was shortly promoted to first engineer in the University of Portugal, which was another super tanker. And it's after that, then I went back on the University of Iran again as a second engineer, and on leaving that one, I sat for my chief engineer's license. And that was in 1974, so in 8 years, I went from a messman to a chief engineer, which those days usually took about 20 years, and I did it in 8 years.
Wow.
But, it was a very, very fascinating climb up there, and I studied hard, and each term out there, my first few trips, I was gone more than 2 years. Each term, because we had to sign up for a minimum of 1 year, and it worked out quite well, and I was very happy. And then my first ship as chief engineer was the Universe Admiral back in 1975. And to give you an idea, I sailed as chief engineer until the end of 1982 when I retired from the sea. But I was so young as a chief engineer, was only at my last year at sea, I sailed with another engineer that was younger than me. Every engineer I had when I was sailing as chief engineer, they were all older than me until my last year at sea.
Wow. And you were able to achieve all of that. What was your level of education when you left to go to sea?
Yeah, high school education. I left home when I completed 11th grade at Triple C. I only had 2 credits required to finish high school, but then after I went to sea, I took a correspondence course and completed my high school education. But as I took engineering courses through the Seaman's Church Institute in New York, and enhanced my engineering studies as I worked my way up on board ship.
Okay. One more question before we go to the commercial break. When you sat those examinations, they qualified you to gave you a certification for what type of registered ships?
Yeah, we were all the ships were Liberian registered, so we took the exam for a Liberian license, which was all done by the U.S. Coast Guard.
Okay.
And it was the same requirements as for a U.S. license, but we were certified for Liberian vessels.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we want to hear a little bit more from Mr. Denniston Tibbetts as well. So, Mr. Tibbetts, when we return, we're going to link up with you again. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
So much happening so fast, too much. It is hard for me to follow my health care instructions. The private counseling with West Bay Pharmacy literally saved my life.
At West Bay Pharmacy, we know how complex medications can be. Our pharmacists are delighted to offer you personalized one-on-one healthcare counseling, free medication review, therapeutic callbacks, and we will liaise with your physician to ensure you receive the best in quality medical care.
Quality of life has a whole new meaning with the right pharmacy to support you. Thank you, West Bay Pharmacy.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Now you can WhatsApp your West Bay Pharmacy prescriptions to 516-0777.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Dress for success and demonstrate school pride by learning and following the National Dress Code Policy and the specific dress code for each government school. Under the National Dress Code Policy, boys' hair must be neatly groomed and of natural color. Uniform shirts must be neatly tucked in, undergarments concealed, sneakers or shoes black, and jewelry limited to a wristwatch. Take pride in your stride today. View the complete dress code policy at www.gov.ky/education. This is a message from the Ministry of Education.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, we have Miss Lucille Seymour, who's the chairperson of the Older Persons Council, seafarer and well-accomplished, I should say, seafarer, Mr. Andrew Eden, and on the phone with us, the president of the Seafarers Association, Mr. Denniston Tibbetts. So, Mr. Tibbetts, we heard Mr. Eden chronicle his path as far as a seafarer is concerned, starting as a messman, taking the initiative as well as being encouraged by others to pursue his dream. He certainly showed the aptitude and the desire to move further in his career as a seaman. How important was the encouragement of other Caymanians, especially those who were in senior positions on board vessels, in encouraging persons to advance their careers, Mr. Tibbetts?
Well, a little bit different. Bringing up from Andrew, my parents moved to Jamaica when I was really young, and I was able to go to secondary modern, and then I won a scholarship and went to high school, and then from there I went to CAS, which is now University of Technology. So I never really had to go to sea because I had a a university education, but it helped me along because when I went out, first of all, my dad, as I mentioned before, was a sea captain. He was, if I recall correctly, he was the first Caymanian captain with National Boat.
Okay.
And I wanted really to follow in his footsteps. So I sought his advice, and he assisted me to get a job, and I shipped out of Jamaica. I didn't go on the trip with him at that time, but I was fortunate that most, well, not really most, but at least half of the men who I sailed with on my first ship were Caymanians. There were a lot of East Enders and a few from the back. So I was able to, I went out as a OS, an ordinary seaman. I never did want to be a, there's nothing wrong with being a messman, but my dad went out as a messman, and about 18 years after that he became captain. But I really wanted to follow in his footsteps, so I remember there was a gentleman when I was an ordinary seaman. His name was Renton Stewart. He was from Georgetown, and he was an older gentleman, and he kind of took me under his wing, and he would take me up to the forecastle head, and he would teach me how to join ropes and join. He taught me all of the swiveling, and he even taught me how to use the marlin spike
to splice, yeah. Uh-huh.
To splice the ropes. Because we did use some. When I say ropes, I mean the iron ropes, the metal. The metal ones. So I was very fortunate, and I was always craving for knowledge. So I would go up after I finished work at 5 o'clock in the evening. I would go up to the wheelhouse and ask if I could steer. And within 4 months of being ordinary seaman, I was promoted to AB, which is essentially a quartermaster. And being one of the younger men on the ship, whenever the captain was letting go or docking, he would call me to be on the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went to Philadelphia, I forget Market Street was the place that he got all of the books, and I started to study navigation. Unfortunately, like 3 or 4 years after I started to see, before I could even take my first examination, I had an accident on board ship, and they had to put me off in Philadelphia. So that cramped my ambition of following my dad's footsteps.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to interrupt you for a second and want to talk about steering because, and explain to our listeners, it's not like steering a car where you turn that steering wheel and you get an immediate response, in terms of direction. Talk a little bit about the technicalities of steering a vessel, especially those large vessels.
Well, the large vessels that I was on and I only sailed on ore carriers. I never did sail on an oil tanker.
Okay.
But I learned that you needed to know stop, right and left.
Mm-hmm.
You need starboard and port. And whenever the mate on watch would say port 5, I would gradually learn that you don't just get 5 degrees port if you put the wheel all over. So I would do it eventually until it came to that figure that he had given me, and I would just answer steady as she goes. And it's so much different now. In those days, the ship's wheel in the middle of the wheelhouse was huge, like 4 or 5 feet across.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, they maneuver these ships with just a little handheld thing.
Yeah. What do you call it, a joystick?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Because I remember going, myself and Andrew did too. We went on one of I think it was Mount Gay. The governor had invited us on board her. That was a ship that or one of the ships that the United Kingdom sends every year during hurricane season. And they came here, and we went out. And I was so amazed. My vice president, John Douglas, he rose to be a chief mate. He never did go captain. But he was so enthused. We didn't have any elevator, so we had to climb about 4 or 5 stairs to get up to the wheelhouse. And to our surprise, the lady who was the person who was on watch was a lady. Now, in my day of sailing, there was never a lady unless it was an officer's wife or something like that. But I didn't see much of them. And then to learn that, I asked her, I said, well, where is the ship's wheel? And she showed it to me right there, a little joystick that you can actually hold in one hand. It was so different but we had a fantastic time there. And but getting back to the seamanship, I learned in a few years, 4 or 5 years that I was at sea, that Andrew talked about discipline. It went without saying. I mean, you did what you were told, and if you didn't do that, then you didn't last very long, because that was part of the upbringing of a seafarer. It's incumbent upon us to adhere to what we're taught, and by going to school in Jamaica, and I was really taught at an early stage, you do what the teacher tells you, and don't deviate from that. If you want to ask questions, fine, but if she says sit down, you sit down, And that is the way we were taught, and that's the way we did when we went to sea. And like Lion Andrew, by the way, myself and Lion Andrew, I say Lion Andrew because we're both Lions, life members of the Lions Club of Grand Cayman, and we're both past presidents. And he calls me Lion Denniston, and I call him Lion Andrew. But it's so easy. It's so easy to talk with someone like Andrew, because we have so much in common, But I enjoyed my time at sea, and even though it was cut short because of the accident that I had, but I was in the hospital for about 6 weeks. I couldn't walk very good, but that's a long story. You don't want to get into that.
Yep. Okay, we have about a minute before we go to our headline news. Very quickly, because we have some questions here that we want to address as well. And Mr. Eden touched on one of these earlier, which was typically what was the length of time that you would be away from home during your seafaring trips, and he pointed out that with national bulk carriers you basically signed a contract for at least a year, and the policy, I believe, was I'm not sure how well they enforced it, but if you terminated your time before that 12 months, you would have to pay your own passage back home. Correct. The other one has to do with uniforms. We see these days, you see the crew come off a cruise ship and they're all in their uniform. In the Coast Guard, you see uniforms. Did people wear uniforms on national bulk carriers?
No, we did not. There was no standard uniform we used, or normal clothes, so. And like Engineer General, we wore coveralls in the engine room. A lot of people did, but there was no standard uniform like there are these days in many countries all over the world.
Okay. Ms. Susan, we're going to go to our headline news. I just want to share this with our listening and viewing audience as well. So the question, what makes a seafarer? And we've heard some of this again mentioned by our panelists. What are the necessary personality traits that every seafarer should have? They should be strong, have a strong work ethic, tenacity, punctuality, courage, and diligence. All are skills highly appreciated in the many industries. However, in maritime, these are vital necessities. And Ms. Lucille, here, when we talk about a strong work ethic, tenacity, punctuality, courage and diligence. What comes to your mind? Scouting, scouting, folks. So when we return, we're going to talk, some more about this, folks. Don't forget also, if you are a seafarer or a member, a family of a seafarer, and you want to call in and talk about seafaring, you're welcome to do so as well. Our phone lines are open for you to do so. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Health Services Authority and the Ministry of Tourism and Transport.
Allfreg says the average price of regular self-service gasoline in Cayman is $5.88 a gallon. That's up 4 cents since the last check on August 4th. For Grand Cayman, the cheapest self-service regular is reportedly being sold at Mostyn's, where Allfreg says it's $5.12 a self-service gallon. An intense system of weather is barreling through Southern California, where 26 million people are under flood warnings. Tropical storm Hillary caused record rains. Officials say more rain fell in Palm Springs than its entire history. Hillary has since been downgraded to a post-tropical cyclone and is now heading north into Nevada. A state of emergency has been declared by California's governor, while President Joe Biden has ordered in federal aid. School classes and flights have been canceled with landslides, downed trees, and flooded homes reported across Southern California. Earlier, a 5.1 magnitude earthquake struck the region as residents braced for Hillary, but no major damage was reported. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Health Services Authority and the Ministry of Tourism and Transport.
It's one of the best moments of your life when you welcome your baby into the world. The HSA's experienced women's health and maternity team provides the highest quality of care throughout your pregnancy and delivery. As a JCI accredited hospital, we are the leader in maternal care, safely delivering over 700 babies annually. Visit hsa.ky for more information. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you. For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. If you are just joining us, I just want to remind you of the fact that we are discussing seafaring in the Cayman Islands, or seafarers. Again, this is a collaboration with the ministry as well as the Department of Children and Family Services and the Older Persons Council. So we have in the studio with us the chairperson of the Older Persons Council, Miss Lucille Seymour, former chief engineer, and member of the Seafarers Association, past former president of the association as well, Mr. Andrew Eden, and on the phone lines with us, the current president of the Seafarers Association, Mr. Denniston Tibbetts. We do have a caller on hold. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, miss.
Let me start by using two quotes. And this is the first quote is, "We must be serious about it." Second quote is this, and this is this morning's quote. "This is where we must start." I attribute those two quotes to the Honorable Miss Lucille Seymour. This morning's quote, and the last time I heard you, Miss Lucille, on the air, the first quote I read out is the quote I took away from that conversation. We must be serious about it, and yes, we must. I'm calling this morning because I think the conversation, I can fairly say the conversation is surrounding the seamen. Mm-hmm. And they're precious to me. I'm thinking we have 4 people on the panel this morning, 2 of whom I've spoken to more than once about my little dream. My big dream in Cayman is that one of these days that I will wake up in the morning and hear that we have had a national holiday for the seamen designated, set down in law, however this you get things done. I don't understand process, nor do I understand procedure, nor protocol, but I know something needs to happen. First of all, I think that we should, number one, by law, have the seamen of this country known as a class in their own, that is to be put in something called something. It don't have to be it, but it can be something near it. National treasures, because they are. Here we are this morning again, talking about how they made Cayman, and yes, they did, and the things that they did that we should be proud of, and yes, they're there. All of the accolades. But I call in that lip service, because guess what? We should be further along in this process than that. We must be serious about it. And, you know, we talking about, we gentrified the harbor there. We're calling it now Seafarers Bay. That wasn't what I was talking about. And I spoke to two people in that studio, just like I said, two people. And about the 2021 being designated the year of the seaman, that was to keep me quiet. My name is Charlene Pierre. I'm too black to have sense. I'm too fool to have sense. I'm a Caymanian and ain't got nothing, so I can't have sense. And God knows we never gonna give a what you would call an ordinary Caymanian any praise for anything. I don't need praise. What I just need is to give us a holiday that we can celebrate our fathers and our sons and our uncles and our cousins who really did build this country. And you know, one of our past leaders mentioned, not in a nasty way, that it would be hard. It can't be that hard, because you know what? In 2003, we got a status grant, we got a change in the Constitution, we got all kinds of things overnight. This to the seafarers is something we don't need to change overnight. We need to go through the proper channels and get it done. I would like that before I'm dead. I'm old. I'm calling for a seafarers holiday. I even conversated with somebody, like I said, and he told me that September the 26th is an international day for seafarers. Well, I wasn't too fussed about that, but if that's all I can get, I'll take it. And we can divorce most of the holidays that we have in this country, since we can't give one more, and give that one to our seafarers. We cannot get up every year round about this time, so in October, and talk about how they did this and they did that. But for the rest of the year, what did they do?
Yeah, we removed Emancipation Day, so, if we could do that, then, why can't we have a special day for seafarers?
Thank you. Now, I put my name to it now because I don't want to bother crawling out the woodwork talking foolishness. And here's how, and I even give you a process. Here's how we get a seafarer's way. We want a graveyard for them. We want a chapel for them so they can marry the new brides. We want a museum for them. I don't know who down by the museum going to look out for them, but they should look out for themselves. And they can look out for themselves. They can. They do it. They have done everything else. And you see, and make some money for themselves. You see that hall they got up there? They're the best cook, those of them still alive, and can open it up once or twice a month and make the seafarers see the country. You see money that they make, and they always giving away money. Every time you turn around, they're doing something for the hospital, and we can't give them a holiday because it's going to be too expensive on the country. That's why we have no respect in this country. If I sat at the head of any table, it would be tomorrow morning, everybody would wake up and they would have a holiday. That's how you get respect.
Yep.
You don't get it sitting down, hee-hawing and blah-blahing. Anyway, I'm going to conclude my blah-blahing. It's out there now in my name. since that's the one I wanted, I gave it to her.
Okay, got it. Thank you very much, Miss Charlene. Miss Lucille, I know you want to comment.
Well, Charlene is right on the button, and she's a very wise lady. I listen to her a lot, and she's very good at saying what she's saying, and she's right.
Absolutely right.
She's absolutely right, because when I listen, I mean, I'm getting older too, but I was born in 44, so that means that I encapsulate the seamen, right? My mother worked for them for years, so I know a lot. I see the ambition that they had. When Mr. Andrews sit here and talk about his progression, who only went to high school and didn't completely finish, but was able to know that he could go out there, put his hands together and his mind together all alone, but I guess some help from some companions, and to become a chief engineer. He's not the only one. I come from 4 brothers. One is George, and everybody knew him, a self-made man. And I come from a cousin named Captain Leroy Watson, who was one of the United States first Marine captains. I come from a father who was a seaman. I come from uncles who were seamen. But I also come from a mother who worked with seamen.
Yes.
And I want to add here to what Charlene said. While we are honoring our seamen, they could not have been so satisfied and completed at home, at sea, if they didn't know at home was working well. So we have to give honor to our women, the helpmates. One of the things I brought to the house was when a seaman divorces his original wife, they are giving some substance to the seaman. We must always remember the original wife, because that was the one who helped him to be where he is. I know from my mother what she did for my brothers and what she did for my father. So I will only add to what Miss Charlene said, that when we're doing the holiday and all the remembrances, we have to remember the women who were at home because they couldn't go anywhere else, and who helped made Cayman. Charlene, I don't think you should give up. I think now that Mr. Andrews here and he's heard your voice, but you must keep on fighting.
Yep.
Don't give up. I wouldn't be where I am today if I shut my mouth and just left it to people. But what I'd like to see is more of our seamen, in particular those who have made it, come to this radio or go on our television and really talk about their life so that our children can see. And the other thing I'd like the seafarers to be part of is part of the Coast Guard, the Marine group with the police, the Sea Scouts, and be part of the cruise industry in the sense that help some of our young people to be able to go on those ships. The last thing I would say, don't forget our shipbuilders.
Yes.
In this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Charlene.
Definitely for that as well. We have a caller, but we're going to go to the commercial break. But I want to leave this segment just by saying that you hear references to seamen, and sometimes when people spend a lot of money, they say that person is spending money like a drunken sailor, right? Well, the Cayman Islands, we had a lot of sober seamen, a lot of sober sailors, because while they may have had some fun, they saved their money. Because folks, what you're sitting on today, what you're surrounded by today, the foundation of all of that was or is our seafarers. We do have a caller on hold. When we return, we will take that caller. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Are you feeling sick but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough, and sore throat to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Back to school just got a whole lot more exciting with Digicel. Activate a Prime bundle or sign up for postpaid and you could win big. We're giving away $1,500 cash, plus Winner's Circle and office supply gift vouchers weekly. But wait, there's more. The grand prize of $5,000 goes to a local school of your choice, and you get a MacBook just for staying on any of our prepaid or postpaid plans. Stay connected, stay smart, and win with Digicel. Terms and conditions apply. Visit digicel.com for more details. Digicel. Better connected.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
A few drops of blood. That's all we're asking for Step 3 of the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. These will help to measure the national prevalence of raised blood sugar and cholesterol, which will shape our healthcare services, our interventions, our prevention and education programming. Help us shape Cayman's healthcare services. Say yes to Step 3. For more information, contact the STEPS team on 936-4969.
Looking to grow your business? We got this. Yellow Media Group has a proven track record for successfully marketing over 10,000 businesses on the web, expanding our customers' reach and providing measurable results. With the Caribbean's largest team of certified digital consultants, we handle everything from website development to search engine marketing and much more. So don't worry, we got this. For a free consultation, contact Lee Hipkins at 936-1981.
Start your day in the know. Don't miss a beat. Radio Cayman's 7 a.m. news keeps you informed every Monday through Saturday at 7 a.m.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Miss Lucille Seymour and Mr. Andrew Eden on the phone line. With us also President of the Cayman Islands Seafarers Association, Mr. Denniston Tibbetts. One of our listeners has written in and said, wishing you all a phenomenal week and God's richest blessings. They want to send out birthday greetings to Mr. Naaman McLaughlin, who's a retired seaman, and he's celebrating his 80th birthday today. They say we are all grateful to God for Mr. Naaman. These greetings are coming from your wife, Vita, children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. We all love you unconditionally, and may God bless you with many, many, many more years of good health and happiness. And some of you may know Mr. Naaman, and later on some of our panelists here will mention Mr. Naaman as well, and that will bring back memories if you don't know who Mr. Naaman McLaughlin is. But happy birthday, happy 80th, Mr. Naaman McLaughlin. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O.C., our host.
Good morning, sir. Good to hear your voice.
Yes, thank you very much for your guests who are in appearance today, Ms. Lucille and Mr. Eden, and also Mr. Denniston, who's on the line. I would like to lend my tiny voice to support Charlene Pearce's contribution this morning, and I share her frustration in regards to seamen not getting their day, we have a day that we can convert today. Discovery Day, which has been attached to Christopher Columbus, who passed by on a ship in 1503 on the 10th of May in the night, but didn't stop and claimed it on behalf of Spain. That day truly does not belong to him, and we should reclaim that. Also, we need to acknowledge our history and bring back Emancipation Day, because it was a significant sociological, economic, and humanitarian holiday, which milestoned our history going forward. Our seamen have been the bedrock, and we're standing on their shoulders regarding everything, including our financial services industry. It was the seamen's significant earnings that started, that enabled our PC Bank to function to the point that it had to ask for international banks to come here to start their footprints here. So our seamen are practically the beginning of our financial services industry, and just people who were part of the seafaring industry, who then congregated and considered Cayman's future, who became decision makers regarding the financial services and tourism avenues that would be revenue streams for Cayman. Without seamen, they would not have been. We would not be where we are. Yep. I'd also like to acknowledge to Miss Lucille, not for us not to forget the shipbuilding era. The most prolific tall sail wooden ship builders in the Western Hemisphere were Caymanian. 9 shipyards amongst the Cayman Islands, 2 in Jamaica, 1 in Port Royal, 1 in Port Antonio, 1 in Roatan, 1 in Belize, I'm made to understand, a small one in Nicaragua, Bluefields, and 1 in San Andres. The impact on our tall sail ship building on the maritime world at that time was so profound that the Royal Navy in England commissioned us to build minesweepers because we were so good. And the reason why they asked us and no one else was because of our significant prowess, 1, and 2, there was this significant need to clean up the Atlantic Caribbean that was significantly littered with mines that were laid by U-boats, German U-boats, that did devastating damage to maritime traffic in that area. We have not done enough, and we need to do it fast enough for those who
are still with us,
still with us, for them to go out understanding that they were truly valued, because that entire cadre of people, those seafarers and veterans, have been so humble. They're so understated, yet they were giants in the world. And this country punched significantly above its weight in terms of seafaring. It's the largest congregation of qualified engineers and sea captains per capita. In the world.
Caller, thank you very much for that. We want to grab one more caller before we go to the break, and I want to say to our panelists, Ms. Loy, in setting up everything, indicated to you 9:30, but if the conversation continues, it will go until 10 o'clock. So, folks, I believe you're going to be here at least until 10. Let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record.
Hey, good morning, Doc.
And good morning to your guests.
Good morning, sir.
Morning. Protocol have been established. I'll jump right into it.
Okay.
Because I have a court date this morning. You talk about all of the ethics and the principles and the courage and stuff that seamen had to have. I'm not saying that other seamen didn't have them. I know they all had them. But 2 of the people that came to mind to me is George Seymour and a guy called, I think his name was Clyde Borden.
Clive Dunborden.
Yes. George Seymour could do anything on the ship that had to do with the mechanics of the ship. not the deck. He could weld. He was an engineer. He could do all the. Mr. Eaton can tell me what it is when you strip all of the pipes and then you have to plaster them and tape them over and stuff. He could do all that work. He was a pumpman. He could do everything on the ship. And he didn't have any high school education. He was a great all around person. And also Mr. Clyde Borden. He was one of the top engineers that I sailed with. And I think we're forgetting all the dangers that the seamen were in. There's a lot of glamour and stuff, but we had to clean the tanks, go down into the tanks, the oil tanks, the tanks that took oil and gas, and we had to clean them. That was very dangerous work. And you forget about all the people who gave their lives to sea, Caymanians who lost their lives to sea. But let me just be practical. We're not going to get anywhere here unless we have a change in the whole complex of how we operate. And let me give you an example. 1995, I went off with about 45 Caymanians, lawyers, doctors, accountants, real estate people. The delegation was led by Governor Gore. We went to New York, Hong Kong, and London to sell Cayman offshore services. And I wrote a book called The Cayman Islands, the Ideal Financial Service, the Ideal Caribbean Financial Services. And the preface was written by another Caymanian, and in it he said, the sea may feel went to sea like every ordinary Caymanian boy. And I had one of the top lawyers say that and say I should take that out of the book because it did not reflect what the profession of law was all about. And I was sort of amazed at that because I was proud to be a seaman. But that's what they think about us, because we didn't have any letters behind our names. And when they came here, they had the same old stereotype of seamen, drunken people on the sidewalk, in the bars, stumbling, fighting. That's the image they have of us, and that has never changed. And that is why in the world that we live in, the money world that we live in, it is the money dog that wags the seaman's tail, and that's the problem that we have. And we don't have any people who comes here who we put the X behind is bold enough to say we are going to do what Mr. Charlene said and what you guys are postulating this morning. That's the problem that we have. We look at those people who have all the letters behind their names, and it seems to me that, like I say about democracy is not defined by the size of the house you live in or by the money you have in your pocket. And I would say the same thing. Integrity is not, and integrity and honor and discipline is not measured by the degrees you have behind the name. It's the character of the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doc, for that. Before we go to a commercial break, I want to share this WhatsApp message. This person says, what a fantastic show this morning. If we had the mentoring of the young men, like what happened in the shipping out days, perhaps our social situation would be a lot different. Person says that I am aged 50 plus, a woman, and always wished I could have gone to sea. Thanks for giving this important topic airtime and for sharing our history and our heritage. I want to thank them for that. Mr. Denniston, we haven't forgotten about you. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we return, we're going to give you an opportunity to respond to everything that you have heard so far. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
A few drops of blood. That's all we're asking for Step 3 of the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. These will help to measure the national prevalence of raised blood sugar and cholesterol, which will shape our healthcare services, our interventions, our prevention and education programming. Help us shape Cayman's healthcare services. Say yes to Step 3. For more information, contact the STEPS team on 936-4969.
Stop kicking that old washer or dryer and stressing out. Brand Source Home Gallery is having an August laundry sale. Save up to 15% on all brands. That's right, save up to 15% on GE, Samsung, LG, Beko, Frigidaire, Electrolux, and even heavy-duty commercial washers and dryers, both gas and electric. Shop Brand Source Home Gallery in August and find the island's largest selection of washers and dryers and save during the August laundry sale. Visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive in Industrial Park or call 623-5000.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay Mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone, and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
Introducing Digicell's all-new prepaid plans. Packed with more any-use data than ever before. Entertainment data for the apps you love like Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. Plus, endless social data for Snapchat, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So you're always in the know. Stay connected. Stay entertained with Digicell's new prepaid plans. Activate in the My Digicel app today. Digicel. Better connected.
With the heat rising and temps flurrying, it's time to pull into Jose's Rubis, where you can buy 2 1-liter bottles of Aquafina water for only $3. Don't miss your chance to share the love during the Rubis Pure Summertimes 2 promotion. Each time you top up your tank with $25 of merchandise or from our 24-hour food mart or with your car's favorite fuel, you earn another stamp. Collect 6 stamps and you are entered to win $5,000 for you and $5,000 for someone you love. Don't forget to pick up tickets for the Lions Club Benzorama at Reflections, Hemp and Tobacco, Food for Less, and Jose's Rubis. Now open 24 hours a day.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. For those of you who are just, or who may be just joining us, again, I want to point out to you that the Ministry of Investment, Innovation and Social Development and the Department of Children and Family Services, that they are working with other stakeholders to develop programs to sensitize the public to the importance of older persons, to the family unit and society. The overall aim of the initiative is to enhance multi-generational interaction and collaboration. So this, and of course the Older Persons Council, they provide a voice for the elderly on issues that are relevant to older persons. What we're talking about this morning, relevant to older persons, but we want to also make it relevant to younger persons as well. And we're talking about our Maritime Adventures or Seafarers as well. We have in the studio with us Miss Lucille Seymour and Mr. Andrew Eden, and on the phone lines, Mr. Denniston Tibbetts. So, Mr. Tibbetts, you've heard a lot of things being said. Give you an opportunity to comment or to add anything else that you may want to add as well.
Thank you very much, Orrett. First of all, I would very much agree with what Charlene has said. As a matter of fact, we have spoken about it on many occasions.
Mm-hmm.
She had September 26th or something like that. I don't know where that came up, but each year, June 25th is known as International Seafarers Day. But I agree with her. You know, if they could make a holiday for anything else, why not us? But I'm a little bit perplexed because of the inaction, I hate to say this, but the inaction of the present government, because from 2000, I think it's 2020, when the previous government was in power, or maybe it was 2018, 19, something like that. But whatever, we had the groundbreaking ceremony at the old building there behind the bakery. And it was promised at the time, we had a groundbreaking for a park, a Seafarers Park.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing has happened because, and I keep asking the culture minister, whose portfolio it falls under, what happened? Oh, we haven't forgotten, but we don't have the money. But, I mean, they should have known that from the beginning. But yet still they find money to do anything else. And I also would like to advertise a little bit for the Cayman Heritage Foundation. They recently published a book called A History of Turtles and Schooners of the Cayman Islands.
Yes,
and
yes.
It has been going like hotcakes. And it is a very interesting and worthwhile book for any seafarer to hold. I would also like to say that recently we had, I think Mr. Duggan, he came and made a presentation at one of our meetings about the last schooner that was built by Caymanians. Even though it was built in Jamaica by Mr. Cappy Foster and Sir Anthony Jenkins, it was still the last Caymanian schooner. And they hope to, as a matter of fact, they purchased it from the people who owned it. It's gone to England, to a boatyard there, and as soon as it is all refurbished, it'll be back to the Cayman Islands. And we're hoping that by that time we would have got our Seafarers Park.
Okay. Mr. Tibbetts, if I could interrupt you, let's talk a little bit about that book that was just recently published. I believe that they indicated initially 1,000 copies were printed. We did receive some, I would say, a strong indication from the Ministry of Education that they would support, financially support, republication of that, or the publication of more copies. I have said personally that it would be an excellent Christmas gift for almost every Caymanian family to have. Have you heard any more about that? Do you know any more about that in terms of, because I would imagine that those 1,000 copies are probably exhausted by now.
As a matter of fact, we at the Seafarers Hall have sold 70 copies already. So Mr. Jerry Miller, who is chairman of the foundation, and Mrs. Susie Soto, they're spearheading the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first 1,000 copies have already been exhausted, and they're depending on government, which government has written to them and said that they would lend their monetary contribution to having them publish a new set. So it's very important. And like I say, I have a copy that was given to me by Mrs. Soto when I went down to one of the meetings that they had. And from the office, we have sold 70 copies. And we're looking to sell more, but because we have 1,200 members. But they've made a reduction in the price for the Seafarers, which is $35 instead of $45. But if you go to that bookstore upstairs, A.L. Thompson in town, I can't remember what the name of it is now, but they sell the book for $45. But it's worthwhile, and
more than words. Located on the second floor of the A.L. Thompson building.
And also the Minister of Education has indicated that as a matter of fact, Jerry has said that I think 100 copies were allocated for the
school,
the government department and the schools. So it's something that has taken off, and it's a worthwhile. I mean, I started to read it, but I haven't finished it yet. But it's so educational. And that fair weather schooner that I spoke about, we're hoping that the Seafarers Park will become a reality, and we'll have all of that in place by the time she comes. I think in the next year she'll be finished refurbishing.
Okay.
But it's all well and good that and what Dr. Markfield said, is kind of relevant to what I said earlier. Most of the people who come to this country, they just think that what is here was here long before, and it's not that way. So people have to understand that seafarers were the ones who built this.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember a quotation that Alfonso Wright, who was the chairman of the Celebrate Cayman, in the last, I think it was down at the Seventh-day Adventist Church, he said that if you see a seafarer out there, just tell him thanks.
Thanks. Yep. Okay. Mr. Tibbetts, want to thank you for that. I'm going to switch over to Mr. Andrew. And off air, he was telling us about, just sitting down and scribbling some of the countries that he has visited. So, Mr. Andrew, we're going to ask you to share that and any other of your exploits that you want to share with our audience as well.
Yeah, thank you. And one of the talking points was asking how many countries we visited and all that,
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have an idea last night. I just scribbled over 15 minutes, and I came up with 58 countries that I could remember I had visited during my seafaring career, and I'm sure probably at least 70 countries I went to that I couldn't remember all of them. But a couple of other points I'd like to make. Sure. Miss Lucille, your mom is Maud. Next to Miss Gwen Bush, your mom was the mother to all of us Caymanian seafarers, and we loved her to death. She was such a sweetheart, and she was the one at the hospital that took care of us whenever we were ready to go to sea. We had, without her approval, no one was going anywhere, without a doubt. And I also like to give a happy birthday greeting to Mr. Neyman, who he and I sailed with back in 1969, 1970, somewhere around there. He was the chief cook on the ship at the time with me. And one of the things some people might realize how much the seafarers sent back to the country here. We were required with national bulk carriers to send 80% of our wages, which is called an allotment. The company sent home 80% of our income every month, and what was left, if we didn't spend, then we could send that home also. So it was a tremendous amount of income from the seafaring community. When I started, sea was probably 1,000 Caymanians out there, and you imagine at least 80% of those funds were coming into the country, which was great.
While you're on that, Mr. Andrew, could you speak about the honesty of Caymanians those days? Because it wasn't unusual for someone who, when they would call signing off the ship, to bring home envelopes, which in the majority of situations contained money for other families in the Cayman Islands, and that was more secure than Wells Fargo or Western Union or any of them.
Of course, that was very common, and there was lots of Caymanian on those ships. For instance, every one of us, when we were coming home, we'd bring, funds, we know it was funds in there because they told us that, because we got off from all over the world, and mail system wasn't all that good at days, and we went around the island, distribute the mail to the people who we brought it for, which was great, and we were happy to do those things, and the honesty, was impeccable. And I'd like to give a quick shout out to some of the guys I sailed with, that really worked with. Gilbert Chisholm from Northside was the chief engineer with me. Lee Jackson from Savannah was the chief engineer also. Clive Bodden, or Clavington Bodden is his correct name, Dr. Macfield referred to earlier. He was from Savannah, the chief engineer also. I learned a lot from that man. He was a very strict disciplinarian, and a lot of people didn't like him from that, but I admired him for the way he guided us along the way, and like I said, I learned so much from him. He was a great guy. And a lot of other Caymanians, like David Tibbetts from the Brack, who was the chief engineer, and Darwin Tibbetts, who was the captain, and so many other Caymanians. For at one time on the Commonwealth, the crew of about 42, there was only 2 men on the ship that was not Caymanian.
Wow.
That was the captain and the radio operator. Everybody else was Caymanian. Geddes Grant from the Brack was chief mate. Mr. Watler, Graham Watler from Northwood was the third mate. I forgot who the second mate was. Leroy Frederick was chief engineer. Clive Bodden was first engineer. Forgot the other guy from Bodden Down. He was second engineer. I and Dudley Parson, we were the third engineers. And another ship, which was the biggest super tank in the world, the University ran at one time, Lee Jackson was chief engineer. William Wood was first engineer. I was second engineer. And Leroy Ebanks and Lynn Ebanks from Westwood, third engineer. The largest super tanker in the world, and all Caymanians were engineers aboard there, and so many other ships was similar conditions.
Yep. I want to thank you for that. We're going to go to a commercial break. I just want to mention the fact that in those days, Miss Lucille, you traveling with money in envelopes was not a problem. These days, they would swear that you were financing some form of terrorism if they find you traveling with envelopes with money inside of it as well. Folks, we're going to take our last commercial break. When we return, we're going to have some closing comments. We're going to start with Mr. Denniston Tibbetts, who's on the phone and has been extremely patient as well, and then our panelists around the table as well. And before we go, we also want to say happy birthday, 71st birthday to Miss Ina, who's celebrating a birthday today as well. I don't have a last name, but a person says, please, a birthday shout out today to Miss Ina, who turns 71. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Stop kicking that old washer or dryer and stressing out. Brand Source Home Gallery is having an August laundry sale. Save up to 15% on all brands. That's right, save up to 15% on GE, Samsung, LG, Beko, Frigidaire, Electrolux, and even heavy-duty commercial washers and dryers, both gas and electric. Shop Brand Source Home Gallery in August and find the island's largest selection of washers and dryers and save during the August laundry sale. Visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive in Industrial Park or call 623-5000.
Get ready for more with Digicell's all-new prepaid plans. More any-use data to browse. Entertainment data for Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. Plus, stay connected with endless social data for Snapchat, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. With Digicell's new prepaid plans, you'll never miss a beat. Activate in the My Digicel app today. Digicel. Better connected.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. This summer, I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, and now Panama. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal this summer.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Start your day in the know. Don't miss a beat. Radio Cayman's 7 a.m. news keeps you informed every Monday through Saturday at 7 a.m.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the Record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the effort of the Ministry of Investment, Innovation and Social Development, as well as the Department of Children and Family Services, to enhance the multi-generational interaction and collaboration, and For the Record this morning, we are talking about our seafaring heritage. That conversation has been taking place with the chairperson of the Older Persons Council, Miss Lucille Seymour, Mr. Andrew Eden, and the president of the Cayman Islands Seafarers Association, Mr. Denniston Tibbetts, who's on the phone line as well. And Mr. Andrew, just to let you know that our deputy director here on Radio Cayman, her daddy, Mr. Henry Connolly, sailed with you as second engineer, I'm told as well.
That is correct.
Yes. So we're going to have some closing comments. We have about 9 minutes. We're going to start with Mr. Tibbetts, who has been so patient on the phone lines. I know he's accustomed to being in the studio as well. So, Mr. Tibbetts, over to you.
Thank you very much. It's kind of different from being there.
I know.
Personal, but I'm grateful. I'd just like to say, a big shout out to the government for the increase in the ex gratia payment. Mm-hmm. I think come the 21st of this month, all of the seafarers would get an income that is $300 more than what they used to get $950. They'll now get $1250.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to be retroactive for 1 month as well.
But it was, yeah.
Yeah.
They gave all of them. I think it was $300 last month.
Mm-hmm.
But just to touch back on a few things that was mentioned.
Okay, we're going to ask you to go quickly for us, though.
Okay, the First Wives Club. We as a council for the seafarers have been in contact or in conversation with the minister involved, and it hasn't finished yet. But I think that it might be that government will consider giving the First Wives Club, the First Wives, some kind of stipend to help them pass over.
Good to
hear. This is a big joke for you. I remember going to Emden, Germany once, and the agent had to take me to a big pharmacy there. And of course, there were all these Germans, and guess where the pharmacist was from? From Jamaica. I could not believe it. I mean, anywhere in the world you go, you find a Caymanian or a Jamaican. But let me just finish by saying how grateful I am that this program came on this morning. I'm grateful to Lloyd Kellerman for inviting us, and I'm sure that we have enlightened the Caymanian people a little bit. Probably not enough, but a little bit to what has happened. And I'm so grateful that I'm a part of it. Thank you so much for having me, and you all take care and have a good day.
Okay, thank you very much. Really appreciate your patience this morning as well. Mr. Andrew.
Yes, I add my thanks also to Loy and UOC for having us on board, and great to be here with Lucille. And at this time, I want to encourage the children and grandchildren of seafarers to come join our organization. We have made it possible for you all to do that now, because we are a dying breed. Believe it or not, in the last 6 weeks, we had about a dozen seafarers or widows of seafarers who have passed on. You know, it's frightening how fast we are fading away now. You know, I at almost 75, one of the youngest one in the organization, and hey, we need younger blood in there to keep things going so the country will remember the contribution that seafarers had paid to this country. And I thank you all for having us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Okay, Ms. Luce.
Thank you very much. I want to echo what all the gentlemen have said. They have very sound words. I particularly like listening to both of them this morning, passing on history. And I want to thank you, Mr. Andrew, for mentioning my mother, because my mother was very much integral in the Seafarer's life. Many a time she used me for me to make sure the urine was good, and particularly if the guys had gone drinking that night. And I'll always remember her. She's done so much. But I want to, for us to leave here today and remember what Charlene has asked us to do and to see what we can do. Mr. Denniston, you as president, I'd like you to have, while I'm very honored that you have taken up the First Wives Club, I really would like to see something where we have a holiday, a functioning holiday, not just a holiday, one that is functional for the seafarers. A lot of things can happen. I'd like to see the seafarers get very close to the Coast Guard, the Marine Police, the Sea Scouts, the cadets, so that your knowledge can be passed on to them. And Mr. O.C., you're a perfect host. Thank you very much. This has been very enlightening.
It has been.
I
enjoy this immensely. I could go on for another 2 or 3 hours.
That's right. We'll have it again. Sure.
Okay, and thanks to you, Ms. Lucille, and to Mr. Andrew, and to Mr. Denniston as well. Two things. I want to share this WhatsApp message that we received as well. The person says, as Cayman had the highest number of qualified mariners in the world, we also had the highest number of women per capita who traveled with their mariner spouses on the ships. We also had the highest number of fatalities per capita, as 90% of the male population were at sea, serving on ships across the globe. So, weather events, shipping accidents, war affected our seafarers in a disproportionate way. As well. So I want to thank that writer for that. And for those of you who are listening, or you may want to contact someone, one of our listeners has written and said that they want us to use this as a lost and found public service announcement. The person says that they found some money outside the Foster's Airport supermarket with a little shopping list. They found this on Saturday. They're asking you to call the following number with details of the amount, and the person says that they will be returning it to you. So the number that you need to call is 927. I thought I'd written down to the whole thing, but I didn't, so I have to find it again. The number you need to call is 927-2386. 927-2386 if you lost some money along with a shopping list on Saturday at Foster's on Airport Road. Again, it goes to show you that the honesty in the Cayman Islands, the honesty, and we spoke about it earlier as well. Better than Western Union, better than Wells Fargo. In those days, you didn't have electronic transfer of funds as well. But if you wanted to get your money to your family, if you were a seaman, you gave it to one of your shipmates. They brought it home for you. And sometimes even if they could, they would bring a package along as well. Of course, those days in travel, you didn't have the type of restrictions, that you have now as well. So seamen were able to bring so many things, back with them as well. Again, I want to thank my panel. This is something that we have to keep alive in the Cayman Islands, but we have to do more than, we shouldn't have to keep it alive. We should have memorials that testify to our seafaring heritage. Those memorials should be in the form of edifices, buildings, as well as particular holidays to celebrate our heritage in the Cayman Islands, because folks, we wouldn't be where we are today without our seafarers. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today, and as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful, seafaring Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And JN Money. From abroad to yard. Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And by the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Visit gov.ky/steps to learn more. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.